Oh, it's so fun. I am wishing so desperately that that's like our Worlds announcement. You know, like how there's always like kind of for each of the titles.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 675th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Bobby.
Hello. I am tired. I don't know what else to say. Switch 2 has been keeping me up too late at night the last week, and I need to fix my sleep schedule.
Well, speaking of things getting fixed, they fixed Pokemon UNITE on the Switch 2. Maybe. ZOINKS is here.
I am. Yeah, the Switch 2 has also been keeping me up late at night, but I don't have one. The thought of desiring one has been keeping me up. So, yeah, just wishing into the night sky has been keeping me up late at night.
The longing for one.
Yeah, exactly. I've never yearned so hard, but for the Switch 2, I do.
Okay, for our show today, we have a new TCG Pocket set releasing. We are going to get ZOINKS' thoughts on Legends Z-A. Also, we didn't talk about the box art, so I feel like we should spend some time just mentioning the box art. We could spend an hour on that, but we're not going to. And then there are new characters coming to Pokemon UNITE for Pokemon UNITE's 4-year anniversary, which is crazy to think about that game being 4 years old.
It is
4 years old.
It is crazy to think.
Wow.
And then there's a Hershey Kiss collaboration, which is there.
We're saving the best for last, I think.
Yeah, really. Yeah, we're gonna end on a high note. And then if you're on if you're on the Patreon/premium feed, we have that's just anything extra we didn't get to, and probably more Unite talk. As I'm sure ZOINKS only loves to talk about Unite. That's not only, but just loves to talk about Unite.
Yeah. I do. I'm excited to talk about, Pocket, but also the Hershey Kisses. I think that's going to be really fun. I'm glad you brought in a resident Hershey's Kiss collaborator expert for this episode.
I knew it was perfect.
I've been a retainer for a while, waiting for my shot, but I knew the chocolate episode, I'd at least get my shot there.
Chocolate. Let's start off with Eevee Grove. I believe that's what they're calling this set. It is coming out on June 25th at 11 p.m. PDT. This is off Pokemon.com. Eevee's excitement is growing with the upcoming release of Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket's latest expansion, Eevee Grove. This expansion includes over 100 new cards to collect that highlight the popular Pokemon Eevee and its beloved evolutions. You may show off your collection in style with a new display board, new binder, and there was a sneak peek at some of the cards below. And then they had like a little trailer for it. So, has it been long enough? 7 months of this game, they have pretty much done a set every month, with the exception of like that first month because the game came out on like October 26th or something. This is just the life we live, is one new set every month.
Yes, it is. That's just what it is. At least we're going to have an Eevee set that we'll be able to actually get our hands on. So
yeah, that's true. It's kind of cathartic.
Yeah,
for TCG fans.
Yeah, I still haven't found prismatic evolutions in the wild, so like I will be able to open this Eevee set digitally before the physical Eevee set that came out at the beginning of this year, which is sad.
It's crazy.
Yeah. ZOINKS, how big of a Pocket player are you?
I'd say quite a bit. I have played it. I definitely played it a lot. I mean, more so than I did now, earlier on in its life cycle. But I've always been my favorite part of it is the brewing. Like, I like making decks a lot in this game. It's very fun. They've made it more fun in the last couple of sets as well. Like, we're finally starting to see a decent amount of variety with the first couple sets. It was like, okay, you can make the water deck or you can make the psychic deck. And now it feels like up until this point, with no word on like rotation or anything, there's a lot of toys to play with in a lot of decks. And so it's been very fun. I fell off a little bit in the Giratina wave. That was it was tough to play in, in that metagame, but this new set's been super fun. So I've been playing quite a bit. I've grinding out ranked. Yeah, I feel like I knew I was going to come on and defend Unite on this podcast, but I also, in recent weeks, feel like I have to come on and defend Pocket on this podcast.
Okay.
There's been some Pocket slander on the Super Effective podcast. I feel like to jump in. But yeah, I'm excited for some of the new cards coming out in this set. I think overall the EVs look fine, the ones they've debuted, but they're doing some cool new things where they're finally like playing with the Pocket design space and where they're making cards that couldn't exist or don't in the physical TCG in like a few ways, like the EVEX having its own unique mechanic, Penny having a mechanic that wouldn't be possible in the physical TCG. I love when they're exploring a little bit more beyond their boundaries, which is fun.
For the record, I don't think the Penny card is very good.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's cool they're going into design space. Also, I found it so funny. The last time that you were slandering Gengar EX was very funny because it was in the 1 week of metagame that it saw competitive success because Savali was everywhere and you need to play supporters to make that damage engine work. And so it weirdly had a niche use case in that week. And I was like, this is quite funny. And this is lining up at this exact time. I'm not saying it's good, but it was a weird like meta of the week counter deck.
Oh, like an anti-meta. When I played the TCG competitively,
yeah, exactly.
I always
rare candy. You can turn 1 block supporters. It worked out pretty well.
when I played the TCG IRL competitively, I was the player for a long time that just built like anti-meta decks. And then I wouldn't actually face meta decks, and then that's where like anti-meta falls apart. And then you would just sit at like the low middle tables the entire time being like, if I could just get one more win, I could maybe start seeing meta decks. And then, hey, when I switched to a meta deck when I played IRL, I started actually like top cutting tournaments.
Shocking.
It's a terrible reality, but it is unfortunately the reality of card games. Is how it works.
Yeah, like in order for the anti-meta to work, you need to face the meta.
Yes. Exactly.
The Eevee card is something that does exist in the real TCG where Eevee's ability will let you evolve an Eevee right away. So that's
well, it doesn't let you evolve it right away. I think the ability it lets you evolve it into a non-EX Eevee if you want, or evolution if you want to.
This Pokemon can evolve into any Pokemon that evolves from Eevee if you play it from your hand onto this Pokemon.
Right. So instead of having to evolve EVX into Vaporeon EX, for example, like it would be in the past.
I see what you're saying.
You can evolve EVEX into a basic Leafeon or something like that if you want to, which essentially at the end of the day is allowing you to play 4 copies of Eevee in your deck while still adhering to the rules because they're different names.
That's really good to focus on.
Right, exactly. Like that's the good part of it. And I guess you could have a 90 HP Eevee now if you wanted to, but it gives up 2 points. I don't know. It's a pretty big risk still. I don't know if it's good. I'm just saying it does exist.
Yeah, you could do 2 Eevees, 2 EVXs, 2 Vaporeon, 2 Vaporeon EXs. Is there even a Vaporeon EX?
Maybe this
Maybe yes.
Probably. Well, the Leafeon.
Yes, there would be 2 Leafeons. There's already a Leafeon EX.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's
right, there is. That's
then there's the new Leafeon they're showing, which I don't think.
You guys think we're gonna get a
particularly
EX for each of the evolutions this set?
Yeah. See, I don't know because I thought it was interesting that the Leafeon that they're showing is just the regular Leafeon illustration. So like it's not a Leafeon EX. Mm-hmm. They usually don't have both, right? They wouldn't have a Leafeon that's an illustration and also a Leafeon EX that's an illustration. So like they wouldn't have a 1-star and a 2-star in a set typically.
That's probably a good point.
So I do wonder if the evolutions will just be regular evolutions and 1-stars.
Well, we already have Leafeon and Glaceon EX. Those are the only Eevee EXs we have.
So maybe they could do the rest.
Yeah,
that's true.
Maybe that's why
we're getting a few in this set. Obviously, the Sylveon was debuted and stuff. But.
Yeah, did the trailer when it first shows the it like fans out the evolutions in like in the circular motion. Those were just regular evolution. They weren't EXs at all, right? In that.
No, I don't think so. But they did. They
believe so.
Yeah. Oh. I don't think all the whole circle. I don't think the whole circle were EXs.
Okay, I don't remember. I just remember seeing them fanning out to show all the evolutions. Yeah, I don't know. I guess to your point, like we only have Leafeon and Glaceon EX, so
Yes,
they could do.
I have the trailer of the ones on here.
looking
There's
here
a
too.
Flareon EX and a Sylveon EX.
yeah.
The rest are regular.
Oh. There we go. There's our EXs.
No, I'm sure
Or there's
there's
two of
more.
them.
I'm right there. They always hide. Remember when everyone thought, what was it? They showed Celebi EX, and then they never revealed Mew EX until packs were just opened.
Right.
Oh yeah.
True.
That was a long. That was a long 5.5 months ago. Mythical Island.
Ancient Pocket history at this point. Ancient
OG Pocket players remember Mew EX coming out of nowhere.
Well, I still don't have a second Gyarados from that set. I really
Ouch.
got to find a trade for that one.
Yeah.
At some point.
Seriously.
What
I'm sure
did
they'll
so
go.
we were slandering Pocket. What was it about Pocket we were slandering? Was it the paying $10? Was it the ranked ladder? Was it
No, I think ranked ladder was the one. I think the other one was just that like all the Pocket player base are like new card game players. Right?
Oh,
It's a lot of
yeah.
people's first card game, which I do agree with. Like it is funny to see. They're all concepts from the actual TCG. I did see there was a really funny post on Twitter where someone said the worst thing that could ever happen is your favorite TCG card gets adapted for Pocket, and it was like one of the coolest clay dolls they've ever printed with like an ability and 2 relevant attacks, and then it's like the same art and does 40 for 1. And you're like, no, like all these cool memories I had with this card that had really in-depth strategy is just gone for a 1 energy attacker or whatever. But it's that one I agree with, and I actually haven't paid for Pocket in quite some time. I've been free to play gaming for a minute. When a new set comes out, maybe I'll drop money, but I haven't been paying for the membership, as I guess what I should be saying. And then what was the other one I wanted to say? Oh, ranked ladder. I get the thing where people are like upset about how many like packs you get or whatever, hourglass and stuff. I do think those should be way more. I think you guys were way underselling how cool the little sticker you get or whatever that you can display on your card is if you get high rank and masters. Like people who play these games, like if they get to brag about it in future seasons, like that is a prize.
You
worth
think so?
grinding
Is that a
for.
thing
I
at like
think-
Unite?
Oh yeah.
Do people like the stickers in Unite? Because the Unite does the same
Yeah,
exact
that's like
thing.
the only thing people play ranked for is to get that 1600 sticker. Like,
Really?
it's the only thing people play ranked for. Yeah.
That's true. Like I noticed that when I play. So
sticker
I
does
play Rocket
nothing
League,
for me.
not well, but I play Rocket League, and a lot of people have the tag of like season 18 tournament winner, season 19
Exactly.
tournament winner. They always have their tag have like the I won a tournament in a previous season. So-
I feel like a tournament win is like way cooler than just like I grinded ladder. I don't know.
Well, okay, sure, but we follow that train of thought. I grinded ladder is way cooler than I won 5 games in a row one time. Like,
Hey, I have all of those.
One
I
they have in the
all
game.
of those.
Yeah, I bet. So does everybody else. That's the problem. If you get the cool, unique one, you got to brag about it.
Yeah, but I feel like here's I know some listeners can relate. Even if I was to like make it to master rank, grind and do it right, which some people are gonna be like, Steve, you're not good enough to get to master rank. I could get to master rank. I'm very confident I can. I just don't want to put the time in.
Okay.
All right.
No badge to prove it. Yes.
All right. I'm streaming Pocket all next week on Twitch, I guess. Just to
We
prove
did it.
everyone wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, we did it.
The reverse psychology here. Even if I had the sticker, I don't think I would want to display the sticker because I don't want to be perceived as like sweaty.
Oh, yeah, that is true. I would say there are a lot of people that think the same way. Like, I think there is almost 50-50 camp of
Right.
people who are, they would love to brag about it, and then you have the other 50-50 side that are like, ugh. So,
I actually feel like if I'm on ladder and no one has any stickers or whatever they're calling them, emblems. I think they're technically called emblems. I'm more worried about that player, the one that doesn't have any emblems. Like that's like a flex in itself that you don't think you need to do emblems. Not even like the fun ones like Giratina or like Palkia or Mew or whatever that you can equip. But if somebody had
just like even the
hidden
main ones, like
like if they had like the Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno hidden one, I would just auto assume they're a whale. I mean, I guess it's possible to get it without whaling. but I would still
is.
assume that you're a whale.
Yeah.
But then I would feel better because I also have the perception that whale players aren't very good. That's why they're spending a lot of money.
You have a lot of thoughts that go through like even before you start battling someone.
Yeah. This is like
Yeah. Wow.
this is like a big thing with like Clash Royale because I played so much Clash Royale where it would be like, what is your rank? What are your cards? Like, what emojis are you using? Do you have like a custom tower or not? There were like so many things that within like the first like 3 seconds of the match, you're already being like, oh, this is going to go this way or this is going to go another way.
I don't know. I'm just picturing like all the thoughts going through your heads of like, okay, this is this person, this is that, and then like they come out the gate with like Misty and just hit you turn one and game's over, and you spent more time thinking about like
I mean, that's fine
who they
too.
were as a player.
I don't mind. I don't mind getting donked. I'm very like, all right, we're done. We're moving on to the next match. I will. So you're not premium at all, Zoinks. You're
No. Yeah.
and Bobby, you dropped your premium.
Yeah, I still have it through the next month or something, but I canceled it.
Oh yeah, I've been enjoying the game more since I've canceled premium. I just feel like I think with premium I was like, oh, I have to log in because I'm spending money, and now it doesn't feel like that. So when I open my 2 booster packs, I'm like, great, awesome, all right, moving on. Oh, there's new promo cards. Don't care. Give me my free 2.
Yeah.
I don't care about this promo Poiple that I will never use ever in a deck.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Zoinks, where do you fall on the single battles, the the promo battles where it's like, you know, you got to beat 20 in a row, or not in a row, but you got to beat 20 and all that?
I don't do them that often. We're talking about like the single player experience, right?
The drops where it's like the
Yeah.
Ultra Necrozma one they just had.
I used to do them a lot more. I haven't done them as much. What I would do, I don't know if I should admit this. For my full-time job, I have to drive a lot, so I would just put the auto battle on, put it in the cup holder, and then drive until it finished.
That's a good strat.
Keep hitting the button. It worked out really well. It was like, well, not going to be on this anyways. While driving for an hour or whatever, I'll just hit 5, refresh them or whatever, and do. But yeah, I would probably do around 10 of them each. I would go through my stamina twice, and that would probably be it. If I didn't get it off that, I was like, I'm not going anymore for these cards.
For sure.
Have I ever
I've missed
admitted?
a lot of the promos now. It's been less and less. So.
I have ever admitted that I like paid for one of the promos where like I ran out of stamina and I paid the money to get more stamina, and it was the Venusaur one, which I think was the second. It was like the second or the third. Where it was like, oh, it ends in 2 hours. I'm out of stamina. I've opened 42 booster packs and I still haven't gotten a second Venusaur. And I wanted,
all-time bad
for
luck.
the second when you're doing playset
because I cared about the playset at the time. So then I spent the however much it was to get you 5 more stamina, and then I did another 5, and then I got the Venusaur, and then I felt bad.
Wow, going from paying for a second copy of a promo to not even opening the app for promos anymore in a 5-month period of time is
I'm
wild.
really speedrunning my emotions of Pocket.
No, I kind of think it's a little bit like a new car, though, right? Like when you get it, you're like just so careful, but then the first scratch happens, you miss your first promo, and it sucks. But like now, you just don't care anymore.
Yeah, now you slap a bumper sticker on it.
Exactly. It's already been scratched. It's okay. You missed your first promo. You can miss another one. It's all right.
Yeah, that's how it goes, right? It's just it unlocks that like you feel better. It's like, oh, I had all this weight on me to like get every single one or to not scratch my car, right? And like it's done, it's over, it's okay.
There's freedom.
Yeah.
Probably an unanswerable question, but last question before we take a break that I want to throw over at Zoinks is Unite made it into the competitive circuit, and now it's like a staple. Do you see Pocket eventually going the same way, or what are your thoughts? What would you think? I asked this to you because you commentate on the main stage.
Yeah.
You're famous.
Yeah.
People know your voice.
Not even close to true.
But I'm sure this has been talked about with you and other commentators or behind the scenes or backstage, or like I'm sure it's a question that comes up a lot of, is Pocket ever going to be at Worlds?
Right. Yeah, I mean, this Worlds, they're doing like a pretty official sounding side event, like at this event, which is kind of cool. It could be them, testing the waters a little bit, see how it could operate. Do I think it will? Yeah. I don't know if it'll be at like a regional level, like to where the trading card game, video game, and Go are. Just because I don't know if they'd get the numbers in terms of competing at like the local events, but I could very much see it being like similar to how Unite operates at in-person events. They're at international championships. You have some kind of online circuit as well, and then you could add it to the world championships. I could see that happening. It could be a very real thing. However, I don't think we see it at all next year, and other than like a special world championship tournament or something like that.
Oh, like they did with like Go for the very first time.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of like soft launched it at Worlds with Go. So see it happening.
Yeah, that would have to be a longer conversation of how many more cards do they need to add? Plus, is there any possible rotation ever happening?
Well, they got to figure out format that they want to do, right? Like the NAIC just happened, and they had a pretty successful side event where they did a 2-deck format where you bring 2 decks, and then you just have to get in a win with both of them in a best of 3. So once you win with the deck, you can't use it anymore for the remainder of the best of 3.
Interesting.
Which is very fun. That's a very common format in like digital card games. Like Hearthstone does something very similar. Back when Runeterra was played competitively, they did that as well. I don't know if I can say other titles on this show.
Yeah, you can.
You mention Destiny every other week, so yeah, I can say that. So yeah, that's a lot of formats do something similar. I always like you bring 3 decks, and then before you even start playing, you both get to ban one of the opponent's decks, and then you do the same format with 2 decks out of a best of 3.
I didn't know Hearthstone had 2 decks, and then you have to win with both. Is that?
I think they do. Yeah, I think they also do 3 decks pretty often, and then do a best of 5. You have to win with all 3.
That's pretty
If I remember
cool.
correctly. It's been a minute since I've watched Hearthstone. It's been a while. So, but yeah, they do something similar. But I think the 2-deck format works really well for Pocket. I think the only rule set is that you can have no crossover Pokemon in either of your decks.
Oh, so you can't have 2 different Giratina decks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
But obviously, you can have Pokeball in both your.
I'm
gonna put 2 of my Pokeballs in one, 2 of my Oaks in the other.
It'd be any fossil deck, and then another deck would be the entire meta. I guess the only way we can do it, I guess. So.
I put all my good cards in my Eevee deck. The other deck is Ramparted today.
And I'll scrape out a win with the other one somehow. I don't know how, but we'll make it work.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think there was a official, not official Korean Pocket tournament that they streamed recently.
Cool.
For the South Korean Pokemon team, however that is defined. It's not TPCI, but it's not the Pokemon Company. It's Pokemon Korea or whatever.
Okay.
But I don't know if they did 2. I don't know if they did 2 decks. I don't know how it went. I just saw a screenshot of people playing, and I was like, oh, it seems like there is interest. There's always been interest. It's whether or not they actually want to set a time side on a main stage or a Twitch or YouTube or whatever to actually showcase that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was my only thing is that not that they would be going up against their own trading card game, but it would feel weird to me if they had the TCG and then also Pocket on that level. I feel like it would only be the TCG. I feel like they wouldn't want to also have Pocket on that level. But I mean, as if it's popular enough, then they would just be for it. But just feels like they would only want to have.
I mean, as somebody who watched NAIC and watched all 3 TCG matches, we were there for 3 hours.
Yeah, good on you. That was a gauntlet. Some great matches, to be fair, but it was a gauntlet for sure.
It was like running a marathon, and that would just never happen with Pocket because the matches are just so much faster than the main TCG.
Also, I don't know if the audiences are that much of a crossover. I think people who enjoy competing in Pocket, they are kind of a different group than the people who enjoy the trading card game.
I agree. I think so too.
At least what I've seen from the trends, a lot of people who have joined up, I'm thinking of some of the bigger Pocket creators, it's a pretty like game agnostic kind of setting. Like a lot of the creators came from Unite or TCG or some from VGC, right? Like there's like a lot of big names that have came from other sides to also make Pocket content, and it's so I don't know, it's kind of a cool amalgamation of different people, and I think it's starting to create kind of its own niche, which is the hope. I'm sure they would love that. I just don't know if it's at that point yet to where they could have it as a whole other arm of competition, but
For sure.
maybe.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some ZA, some Unite, some Hershey Kisses. We will be right back. And we are back from our break. Legends Z-A has a release date. I feel like I'm still catching up on being gone for 3 weeks, 2 weeks in Japan, and then a week in New York, so... This was announced like 2 weeks ago, I think. We have a release date, October 16th. That is not the same day as X and Y. I saw that going around a little bit. X and Y came out on October 12th. But I can't help but agree and or think that they did try to plan that around a similar time, as close as they could maybe get.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they probably didn't want to do what October 12th would have been a like Sunday or something this year. So
yeah,
what? Probably
they could,
wanted to make
who's
sure
stopping
it
them
wasn't-
from releasing it on a Sunday? Whose rules and regulations are in place?
Yeah. I mean, it's not the best day of the week to release a video game, I think. But hey,
Yeah, sales numbers might be
Yeah.
stopping them, I guess.
I
Maybe,
mean-
maybe that's the hurdle they're trying to get around.
I mean, I also don't think January is the best time to release a video game. Like
Also true.
3
Hey,
weeks after Christmas.
someone whose birthday is in January, I appreciated Legends Arceus coming out like a week after my birthday. It felt like a birthday present to me.
Oh.
They have the box art, which I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think it's bad. It seems a little busy, but maybe I don't know.
That's what they want to make people think. Like it's busy. It's not big and empty like previous. Like what Legends Arceus was the opposite, right? It was a very empty box art because it was just the Zelda Breath of the Wild.
It was the Breath of the
look
Wild
over
artwork.
Look over the shoulder thing. And I think they just were going for this is a busy city. We want to show this as like there's a lot happening, especially because it's at night, right? And so there's the whole stuff about how like the city comes alive at night. And if it was like the city comes alive at night and then there was nothing in the city in the box art, I feel like that would kind of go against what they've been saying. So
I guess
I don't know. I like it. It's nice.
I guess with like Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, Black and White, it's just here's one Pokemon on the cover.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very different cover, for sure, than any other Pokemon game.
Yeah.
I don't
Which is why it's like, do you think Chikorita's backside is a selling point? You're like,
Yes.
just Chikorita
Who
booty.
doesn't like-
I think
doesn't
the
like
vertical that
Chikorita booty?
Chikorita's got maybe would be like
The
how
height.
high that Pokemon is jumping right now. Yeah.
No, that Pokemon is jumping off of the trainer's shoulder. Gotta be.
Yeah. But
right?
the hang time, like, come on. Still.
No, we have three
Yeah.
trainers on the box. We have 3 starters, a Pikachu, a Mega Lucario. It is busy. And again, I'm not using busy as like a bad word. It's just it is inherently busy compared to other box arts.
I really do think that like really does foreshadow what we're gonna feel like in the game though. I feel like that's really what they want it to be is I think the nighttime portion of the game is going to be full of people and full of Pokemon. And so maybe not like there's not really one focal point for the box art other than Chikorita booty maybe, but
It's right there, center.
It's right there center. But I think it does give an idea of hopefully what we're going to see when playing the game.
Some side news here. If you pre-order Pokemon Legends Z-A at the Pokemon Center, you will receive a gift with purchase. If you pre-order Z-A or Legends Z-A Nintendo 2 Switch Edition, that's a mouthful, trainers who pre-order their copy of the game will receive an adorable gift. You will receive a random sitting cutie of Chikorita, Totodile, or Tepig with your adventure. So, what's the inflation? How much have sitting cuties gone up in price recently? I think they're $14-ish, maybe?
17? 17 for the
17.
evolution ones?
Yeah, they range.
Yeesh.
Yeah, that's true. The newer releases one I think are 17 is what I paid.
The
what I
worry
paid for
here
them.
though is if you buy from Pokemon Center, you might not get it on release day.
Right.
That happens. I feel like that happens every time. I always see people who
So
are
it's
like,
like,
"Oh,
do
I
you
didn't get
wanna-
it day one." Yep.
So do you like to gamble on both release date and which sitting cutie you receive?
Well, and you have a physical copy, right? And so I know some people love having the physical copies of games, but like I personally, it's too much work to get the cartridges in and out. I would just give me digital copies of games, so I don't have to get up off the couch to go switch the game out. So it's like on top of maybe not getting it day one, possibly getting a plush that you don't want. Now you also got to go put that game in and out of the Switch whenever you're going to play it or switch to something else. So it's a no from me on this, but like I do like that people are doing this and then saying like, oh, this will determine who my starter is for the game, right? Like whichever of the plushes I get is like, that'll be my starter for Legends Z-A. I like that. I like that randomness.
Yeah, it's fun. I think it's a good gift idea too. Like it's very fun to give someone a plushie and a game. Like if you're getting that for somebody, but getting it off Pokemon Center is pretty specific. It's not like you're walking through a retail store and you're grabbing it for somebody. So I do think it's a cool idea, but yeah, I personally probably won't be getting the package deal from Pokemon Center.
I saw like I don't know, was a tweet or a Blue Sky post of somebody saying they're going to pick the starter based on which plush they get, which I thought was like really cute.
I think it's really cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why, like, if you're gonna do it, like, might as well go all out and just make it your whole thing.
I do think this is a really good pre-order bonus though, like what Zoinks said. I remember pre-ordering Diamond and Pearl at GameStop, and the gift was like a Palkia stylist, and if you got both, you got Palkia and Dialga, and then you got like a little plastic stand that you could like easily 3D print in like 45 seconds that you could put both stylists in.
But not then.
No, yeah, not back then.
Then it was different.
That was a quality piece of plastic back then. And then I remember like pre-ordering Mario Galaxy 1 or 2, and then it came with just like a coin, like a Mario coin, which probably not worth anything nowadays.
Bet that stylus though. I bet the Palkia or Dialga stylus is worth something though. I'm gonna look this up right now.
I'd Venmo you $10 for it. If
All right. Well, see, the sitting cuties are worth more than $10. That's a better pre-order bonus.
Guess so.
Did the Dialga and Palkia stylus like have the actual figure on top of the stylus? That's what it looked.
It was like it wasn't like a 3D figure. It was like a flat, like 2D. It was like their sprite.
Oh, okay.
It was like,
all right.
I don't know how to describe.
No, I see what you mean. I'm just looking to see if these things exist.
You're looking
buy,
to see the eBay post value of the Dialga.
That is exactly what I'm doing, but the ones I'm
clear,
seeing,
it's not going to change my offer depending on what we see. I am saying it a hard $10 Venmo.
the only ones I'm seeing look like they're 3D on top. They don't look like they're 2D on top.
I think the 3D ones were sold like just separately from like you get like a 2-pack or something.
Got it. Okay, yeah, because those ones are going for like $100.
Whoa,
on eBay.
whoa.
The 3D ones. So
$100.
That's like 10.
Wait,
that's like
10 times my offer.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Are you excited for ZA Zoinks?
I am. I loved Legends Arceus, so I'm pretty excited about these new experimental projects. I am not turned away by the idea of the whole thing being in a city like a lot of people are. I'm excited for just a lot of action all the time. Like, if we can trade expansive exploring for just constantly having something to do right in front of you, I think that'll be pretty fun. I like the 3 starters they have quite a bit, so that seems cool. And Megas are really fun, so having another look at Megas, I don't know, there's just like a lot of boxes that it checks. I think it's going to be a fun game. So
I was going to say, have you experienced 60 FPS on Scarlet and Violet, but you were Switch 2-less?
Yeah, I am Switch 2-less, unfortunately. However, at NAIC, I did have the chance to give it a shot. At both the demo stations they had, which were fun, and then also
they had demo stations at NAIC.
Yeah, that was cool.
All right,
but yeah, got to try out some 60 FPS Scarlet and Violet. Very fun, very fun.
Bobby, have you played any more Scarlet and Violet, or are you still Zelda-fied over there?
No, no more Scarlet and Violet. Also, no more Zelda. Actually, lately it's all been Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay.
2077.
Okay.
For the last couple of weeks. But no, I want to jump back into Scarlet and Violet just to do some shiny hunting. Because I haven't really experienced the, hey, let's have like 30 plus spawns in an outbreak at the same time yet.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of pictures of it, but I do want to go through and do that a little bit more so I can experience some shiny hunting in 60 FPS. But
cool.
Yeah.
I don't think it feels that different. Well, I feel like it does depend on the Pokemon. Like, I was hunting Wattrel on the water, and that felt overwhelming.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just a bunch of birds flapping at you. And then I was hunting Minior. I was hunting Minior in the Blueberry Academy, and that felt like normal. Like, yes, there was like 30 Miniors, but like you were on snow and it was clear outside, and Minior isn't like hyper aggressively flapping at you, and you're just like like it felt very like, besides being smooth, it was like, okay, this is not like overwhelming, this is just fine, like more Pokemon to look at. Although Minior's a bad Pokemon to hunt because you can't physically see if it's shiny or not, so you're like stuck attacking all of them, so it kind of forces you to slow down anyways.
That's true.
So it's up and down.
I saw an image with someone that was doing a Great Tusk. Great Tusk? Yeah, that's the one. The ancient one? Yeah, Great Tusk. And that looked a little much. There was just a crowd of them everywhere. You know, it's like you couldn't, I feel like you could barely move without running into one. Because it was in Area 0. It was at the very bottom, right? So it was like that bottom part of Area 0, and it was just like, I don't know, think of like a day after Thanksgiving sale, like when you're waiting to get into a
Black
store
Friday
in the morning.
Area 0.
It's just a crowd of them, and it just felt a little bit intimidating.
Of Great Tusk. Yeah.
This show's been too positive, so let me be negative real quick. Because I've put a lot of time in Scarlet and Violet since the update, and I love it. I think it's great. I think I do resonate with a lot of people that were like, I wish I could experience this for the first time. And that like totally makes sense. I think there are some like side effects that have happened where like I've seen people say the camera speed is like way too fast and they wish there was like they could slow it down when they're turning. I think there are some animations that just feel unnaturally too fast at 60 frames, which seems kind of weird. I'm not like talking about like going in and out of battle, but just like almost like idle animations where it's like, oh, you're just like moving way too fast of what you should be. And like I get that all they probably did was like uncheck like the goes up to 60 if you would like to. I think some takeaways though is I was worried about draw distance being bad, and I don't understand fully the decision of like when they said when they announced that it was coming to Switch 2 and there was like going to be a patch and everything. I think everyone thought like, oh my gosh, we can run hopefully at 30 frames, if not a little bit higher, because realistically Scarlet and Violet did not run at 30 FPS. It was running at like 20 if you were lucky, and there were some points like in Lag Lake that you were like at like 7 FPS. But the draw distance still isn't that great. So it's like, I don't understand why they decided, okay, now you can see 30 plus Pokemon. I think the most I've counted on screen is like 33 or 34. But the draw distance itself is not much better. It might be like slightly better, and now it's like hard for me to tell because like I can't go back to my Switch 1 because all that stuff is gone. So I can't just like pull up the same area side by side. And I'm not playing through those games again. I've already played through them 3 times. But I would almost want like, I don't know if there's much of a difference of like 33 Pokemon on screen or like 25, because 25 is still more than like the 15 it had. So like I would personally say like bring it down to like 25, but give me more draw distance where people aren't still popping in or popping out, or like grass is not popping in and popping out. I do wish the draw distance was a little bit better. And I don't think that's like being too negative. I think that's just like a preference of like, I do think draw distance adds to like immersion or gameplay, or I think it is important in games to have decent draw distance.
Yeah, agreed. Especially because like, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but it's like one of my complaints of Scarlet and Violet was not that there weren't enough Pokemon on screen.
Yeah.
Like right in front of you, right? Like 15 was more than we had in any other Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that they needed to have more, and now they have 30 or 34, 33, whatever it maxes out at. And that's fine. That's great. But to your point, like the draw distance would have been nice if it was further, because again, it does make it feel fuller, more immersive when you're seeing things in the distance, right? And I think that would have helped that a lot. But this is coming from someone who's only played for like 10 minutes of the game. But, you know, I think, I do. People seem to like it though. People seem happy overall with the update.
Yeah, I think it's
so it's a good
I think you could be upset at like the price, or you could be upset at how long it took for this to happen, or you could be upset that like they didn't ship this way. I think those are all totally valid, but you can't disagree that this version of the game is a significantly better version of the Switch 1.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah.
Like it's just better.
a little bit better.
They didn't fix any of the issues. So there's 2 issues that stood out to me. Number 1 is Dragon Cheer is still broken in raids. If you use Dragon Cheer, there's just a chance that you're going to get kicked out of a raid. And the Switch 2 does not fix that. So my thought process was maybe Dragon Cheer is so powerful that the Switch 1 can't handle it. And therefore it would boot you out of the raid, right? Like what is triggering the like black screen, getting disconnected and then getting sent back to Paldea? What is triggering the Shadow Realm? And I was like, maybe it's just the Switch 1 is not powerful enough. And then what's the raid boss this week? Baxcalibur. So I was like, oh, I'll bring Archaludon. It'll have a body press. It'll have iron defense. I'll do Dragon Cheer, right? That way my teammates can have critical hits. Dragon Cheer, 3 seconds later, black screen, kicked back to Paldea. I guess we're still broken. We're still broken. Not even the Switch 2 can handle Dragon Cheer. Which is like, Dragon Cheer is a good raid move. It lasts the entire fight.
Yeah.
It's a great raid move.
It's too good of a raid move, clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so good, the Switch 2 can't handle it. The other thing that wasn't fixed that I tested, because when I was recording footage before and after, because I recorded a bunch of footage before I moved off the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. And then I re-recorded that footage. And one of the things I noticed right away was like the shadows were better. Like a really good example was like I was standing in front of Ogre Ousting, like where you would sign up to do it, and the shadows underneath the counter that you talked to the lady at were like really jagged. And then on the Switch 2, they were like a lot smoother. And I was like, oh, cool. Maybe because of the power of the Switch 2, like the lighting engine just handles things better. So the thing I thought to test was, let me make a picnic in a cave where, I don't know if you guys have ever tried to make a picnic in the cave, a cave where like the whole screen is so bright that you can't even see the sandwich because it's trying to like make up for how dark the cave is. That's not fixed on the Switch 2.
No, I have not done this.
You try going to like the Chargestone Cave in the Blueberry Academy, because that's like you could just fly there instantly. and then try to make a sandwich, your whole screen will be bright white and you won't be able to see the table at all. It's like a very common thing in caves in this game. I mean, most people probably aren't making a sandwich in a cave. Yeah, maybe.
Usually in a field.
But they like the option.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But the power of the Switch 2 did not fix the sandwich camera lighting, and you're still getting blinded when you try to make a sandwich in a cave. So they're just like, I'm not surprised those aren't fixed, because it just really seemed like they hit a frame rate button and add more Pokemon button. And then the final thing before we take a break is the game still doesn't sit at a solid 60. And I remember we talked about Joe Sarabi's video where he was like, the only way I saw it drop below 60 was when I was reviewing my footage. That's just not true. Like the game drops to like 50 all the time when I was playing. It was specifically in like the DLC. So like he said he noticed it only when he reviewed footage.
Yeah.
I noticed it within like 5 minutes of playing in the Blueberry Academy. Like it was like leaving a cave to somewhere else, and it was just instant slowdown. Almost to like, oh, is my game going to crash right here? And I don't think that's...
I've seen this before.
Yeah, I've been here. Memories coming back. I don't think that's a big deal, right? Like, I've played Elden Ring, I've played, Uncharted, I've played Destiny, and here's our Destiny counter for the day, where, like, the game just, like, chugs for just a hot second and catches back up. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I just want to, like... I just think that his analysis was wrong of, like, you'll only notice it when you're looking for it. Like, it does chug, it does slow down. And I think that brings up another conversation of, like, does it need to be 60? Could this have been like a solid 30 like Sword and Shield, where, well, Sword and Shield had its own problems, but it did run at a solid 30. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I think I get it. I get that, like, all they did was probably hit like an optimize button. Here's a free update, move on. I hope that what they have learned from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, we don't see those problems with ZA. We don't see like big chunks of slowdown. We don't see where maybe the game is running at 60 frames, but like these animations look really weird at 60 frames because they just look like they're at ×2 or ×3 speed instead of like a natural speed. Does that fix draw distance? I only bring up all of these issues not to like complain or to like rag on Scarlet and Violet. It's mostly like, here are the things that happened when they moved to a more powerful console, mostly good. And now that ZA is like 4 years later, 3 years later, 3 years later from
3 years,
Scarlet and Violet, have they learned and will they fix all of those things that I just mentioned in that version? And I hope so. I hope that, but then I'm also worried about the people who are on Switch 1. It's like, what kind of game are you getting?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be tough.
That is going to be tough for sure. But okay, just going back a second, I can just see all the developers out there, and you're like, they probably just hit an optimize button.
No, okay, yeah. I don't mean to make it sound as like
They're like, hey, tripped Bill. Over in the office one day. They looked up. They're like, oh, it's a 60. They sent it out.
And they're like, hey, hit that 60 FPS toggle over there. All right, ship it.
But hopefully when Scarlet and Violet came out and it ran like it did, that immediately lit a fire under them to make sure that the next game was going to run well, regardless of what system it was going to be on. And so, because that would be awful if Legends Z-A comes out in October and Switch 2 players are having a fine experience and Switch 1 players just are having a terrible experience. We saw this 5 years ago with Cyberpunk. Literally, if you were on a PS5, it was fine. If you were on a PS4, it was garbage. So,
yeah, like they couldn't even open the game, right?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So I really hope that they've figured it out so that there's not a huge difference in experience between Switch 1 and Switch 2 players, especially because how many more Switch 1s are out there? There's gonna be I think there's going to be far more sales of the Switch 1 version of this game than there are
Yes.
Switch 2.
Yeah.
So, like, absolutely, right? So, they better
well,
fix their stuff.
As of right now, there's like 3.5 million Switch 2s being sold, and even if you assume 1 out of 3 Switch 2 players are buying Pokemon, that's still just 1 million copies on Switch 2.
Yeah.
Whereas Arceus sold, I think, 14 million.
Mm-hmm.
The one question I still have here before we take a break is players who purchase either physical or digital version of ZA for the Nintendo Switch will have an option to upgrade to the Switch 2 by purchasing the upgrade pack. Upgrade packs will be available in the eShop and the My Nintendo store. We still don't know if, and maybe I'm wrong, we still don't know if there's just one copy of this game. Like,
So you think there'll be 2 different boxes with one different?
No,
like
we know there's
saying,
2 we know there's 2 boxes. We know there's a
Right.
Switch 2 box and a ZA box. But
Yes.
is the cartridge in the box the same? It's just, is the Switch 2 one adding whatever? Like, we don't even know if the Switch 2 has like exclusive content, right? It could just run better. And we already know they can do that with Scarlet and Violet, right? It's going to say this is the 4.0.
They hit the optimize button.
Yeah, they hit the optimize. They have this optimized button
I'm so
ready.
glad they found that button. That's huge for us going forward.
2.5 years of that button being lost. So this happens on PS4, PS5, or Xbox, whatever. I can't ever remember the Xbox names. It's not that I like hate Microsoft. I just can't remember X or Series S. I don't know. PlayStation had a much simple 4, 5, maybe 6.
Yeah.
On PlayStation, there were some games where it was always better to buy the PlayStation 4 version because you could then play it on PS4 and PS5 than just buying like a PS5 version. Because then if you had a PS4 and PS5 in the house, you couldn't go between the two. Like, what if, grandma's watching TV on the PS5 version, and you're like, I gotta go to the bedroom now and play the PS4 version. Oh, I only bought the PS5 version of the game. I can't play this. So I wonder for Pokemon fans, especially if you're a family, mom, maybe there's only one Switch 2 in the house, but there's 2 Switch 1s in the house. You would probably want to just buy the Switch 1 version and then spend the $10 to upgrade, unless the cartridges are exactly the same where it doesn't matter which one you buy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Because the cartridges for Switch 2.
I don't know. I don't have a Switch 2 cartridge.
Yeah, I mean, all my all digital for me, but they're red, right? They're not black. The ones that are like Switch 2 exclusive,
right?
Like Mario
So
Kart World,
is the
red.
cartridge in the Switch 2 going to be even red, or are they just going to make
Right.
one cartridge? Because like as a business standpoint, it would just be cheaper to make one cart and then just
Yeah,
put it
if you're
in.
having people download the upgrade anyway, like what's the point of making 2?
Unless the cartridge is red, but it's exactly the same, but the red cartridges can't. I don't think the red cartridges fit in the Switch 1. Or maybe they do fit in the Switch 1, it just doesn't read it.
All right, Steve, it sounds like you need to buy 2 copies of this game.
Well, that gives me 2
You can
chances
test
of a plush.
That's true.
There you go.
If you get the same one twice, I mean,
Yeah.
unlucky, but fate decided. That's
two
going to be your starter.
chickaritas.
2 chickaritas.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just safer to buy the Switch 1 version, and then you're kind of foolproof, and then you could just spend the $10 and upgrade. It's $60 for ZA, and then it's $70 for Switch 2 version of ZA.
Is it $70 if you buy the game physically for Switch 2?
Yeah.
No, right? It would be 60 no matter what. Then you're just paying 10 for the online upgrade.
The digital version of Switch 2 ZA is $70 right away.
Sure, but I'm saying though we don't have the price of the physical ones yet.
That's correct. I don't think they've
Okay.
listed that anywhere. Unless maybe you go to GameStop and you could buy it. I would assume it would be 70. Pre-order now.
And then you just get the codes there for free so that you can get the actual upgrade when you start the game.
Yeah, on the official ZA website, it just says pre-order on eShop.
I
But
don't
yeah.
know. Is there any games now that they're doing this with? I'm sure.
I know.
Right?
I was
Is there
trying to rack
anything
my brain. I was
currently?
like, who's got a Switch 2 release and a Switch 1 release?
Yeah.
I can't even think of it.
This can't be the first one.
Doesn't Metroid come out before this? No. I don't think Does Metroid 4 have a release? I don't know.
I have no idea. Is Donkey Kong going to be Switch 2 exclusive?
No.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
It's
you
not?
switched to exclusive. Yes. Sorry. I thought you meant
Okay.
was Donkey Kong going to be on Switch 1. No, Donkey Kong
No.
Bonanza is Switch 2 exclusive, except if you're on a Switch 1, you can play co-op with the Switch 2.
That's cool.
You can play as Pauline on Donkey Kong's back.
Yes,
Cheer
I think.
him on.
Yeah.
That's interesting because that's like that makes so much sense. Because then,
Well, Pauline's not as
You
powerful.
play-
Pauline doesn't need the power of the Switch 2. She only needs the power of the Switch.
but it's just such a good way to get people like, oh, I should just buy a Switch 2 now. Now I'm enjoying this game, but I can only play it if I'm with someone with a Switch 2.
Yeah.
Let me go buy a Switch 2 so I can play it myself.
Marketing.
Smart.
Do you think Legends
Move
ZA
Nintendo.
Switch 2 edition is going to be as ambitious as Donkey Kong Bonanza? We don't have time to answer that question, but Donkey Kong Bonanza does look pretty good. You can put pants on Donkey Kong. That's more. You
Instant
can't
seller.
even take off your school outfit, Valdea. You're stuck with it.
Oh, I forgot about that. The worst part of that game.
Okay, let's take a quick break and then two very popular Pokemon joining Pokemon UNITE and Hershey Kisses. We will be right back. And we are back from our break. Pokemon UNITE. This is why Zoinks is here. This is off Nintendo.
And Hershey's Kisses, but just
yeah,
it's
that's
fine.
true. We saved the two best for the last segment. Latios and Latias will join the fray. This is off Nintendo Insider, which is pulled from just the Nintendo or the Pokemon tweet. That Latias and Latios will join Pokemon UNITE to celebrate the game's 4th anniversary. That's it. They don't say anything else.
Yeah, that's the release.
That's it. All right, moving on to Hershey's.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about these two. I think you'd be kind of hard pressed to find like a legendary or mythical, like big attention getter Pokemon that are more hype that are not in the game yet to this point, other than Latios and Latias. I think they're pretty big pulls. Other than that, like I don't know, you'd be stretching it. Like they haven't done Raikou or Entei, which would also be cool, which a lot of other games have done, right? Like Sleep added that whole trio, whereas we only have Suicune at the moment. Are all three in Sleep now? Entei and Raikou too?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. But yeah, now we got Latios and Latias getting added. They're pretty cool. From what we've seen, the Latios is an attacker and Latias is a supporter, which is very cool. And like they each have abilities that work extremely well with the other. So like for example, some have like attacks, and I can say all of this is on like the public. They are both on the public test server now. So in the East, they've already been showcasing them a little bit, but they basically like one has a move that will debuff an enemy, and then that debuff will increase if any Latios or Latias hit that Pokemon. And there's like a few other effects that are very similar to that. They have a Unite move that if they're both targeting the same enemy Pokemon, it adds like a big explosion flurry thing and everything. They are built to work together in kind of every fashion, which the biggest thing is begs the question, are they going to release at the same time? Because if they don't, it would feel so weird. Like in the past, every anniversary and I don't know, just like any of our legendary releases have all been free, like to players. You just got to play through the like little mini game, do a bajillion quests, and then you get the Pokemon for free. Technically, it just takes some time. But if they don't have, like, example, when Mewtwo X and Mewtwo Y came to the game, they were like a few weeks apart. Like I think like 3, maybe even a full month apart. They brought the one and then they brought in the other. But like since they synergize so much together, it feels kind of wild to do that. So my hunch is that they will for sure be releasing at the exact same time. I wouldn't be surprised if they had some kind of like referral code promotion kind of thing. Like they haven't done that in Unite as much, but like Timmy Studios games have done those a lot, where you have a code, and if people use your code, you get like extra rewards on your quest to get the free thing or whatever. So I could imagine something like that, but no news on that front or anything. This is just me guessing if they wanted to kind of promote those two. But anyway, yeah, they seem really cool. They seem really strong, like a lot of our legendary Pokemon that go to the game are. But they seem really fun.
Do they? It doesn't. I have a couple questions. Number one,
Sure.
If I just pick Latios and no one picks Latias, does that feel like, oh, this is kind of a waste of a pick?
Well, actually, specifically in that case, I wouldn't say. Latios feels like a pretty strong attacker on their own right. The other one, like Latios as a supporter, you're probably better off choosing a different supporter. Like for your team is the other way. Like without a Latios, it might feel a little worse, but strong too. They have a few mechanics, like I said, they work together. The last one I think I didn't mention. Steve, I know you've played, Bobby, I know you haven't, but Hoopa is like kind of unique, and it has a additional button that no other Pokemon has. That its only unique ability. Hoopa's is when you press it, you like steal a berry from the opposing side. Well, this one, Latios and Latias, if you press it, you just fly to wherever the other is on the map, no matter where they are. It's really, really strong. It's on a 90-second cooldown to like circumvent that. It's a really long cooldown, but it is a very strong ability, and both of them have that. But then they each have like basically a passive that builds up extra damage over time the more you damage enemy player Pokemon. So you can't charge it on wild Pokemon or neutral ones, but the more you hit the enemy, the stronger you get. And seemingly in the public test server, it doesn't have a ceiling. So you can just, like, if you are crushing it in the game, it's seemingly you can just kind of scale all the way to the moon. So we'll see how that happens. I imagine there will be, like, a soft ceiling put in place before they release, but we'll see. So I do think they have some strengths on their own with kind of that, like, power scaling element, but together they're going to be very, very strong. Separate, I think they'll have their own uses, but certainly not as exciting as when you get two of them, which does mean when you start getting into draft games, I don't think you will ever see two of them on the same team.
Oh, right, because you would always just ban one of them, or the
exactly ban one, or if you
Latios.
see the other team pick one, you just pick the other and then prevent the enemy team from getting it. So
yeah,
I imagine that'll be the case. We'll see.
But then I think it would also seem like it would fall apart if you're just playing with randoms, if you're just doing solo queue and you see somebody pick Latias and you're like, oh, I'll pick Latios, but they're not doing the teamwork thing you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, there is always the chance of that happening. Quite a strong chance. So we'll see how simple it is to work together, like with their combos and stuff. Like some of their moves seem kind of just straightforward. It's just like a if this then blank kind of thing. But the Unite move does seem like they both need to be kind of timing it correctly and stuff. So we'll see how intuitive it is. It's going to be kind of hard to determine until we actually see them released. One fun thing is Latios is extremely small compared to Latios, like in game. Like,
like the models?
Like the model is like a very surprisingly small comparatively. It's pretty cute actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Has
had Alcremie released last weekend as well. So the weekend of NEIC, Alcremie got added to the game.
Right.
A supporter as well, and that is the tiniest model in the game by far. Like it's kind of one of its strengths is that it's hard to hit because you're so tiny.
You're so small. I heard that Alcremie was a little underwhelming as a support.
Yeah, I'd say for the role that it is in, like most other things kind of do it better. You kind of have like just a hardcore healing kit, and then the other option is like kind of a more enhanced help out enemies use or teammates that use auto attacks a lot, and both of them feels like other supporters do that slightly better than them. So I assume next patch we'll get some Alcremie buffs. Usually that's the case. If something hits the game on release and is a little underwhelming, we usually get some pretty rapid changes to the new Pokemon. So I imagine Alcremie will get some bonuses.
They gotta sell more Alcremie.
Who's Who's the top supporter right now? Like when you're playing, usually.
It's kind of for debate. I'm coming onto the podcast at a pretty good time. The meta's actually been pretty great for like, I don't know, at least half a year, maybe even more. Like it seems pretty balanced, but supports Psyduck, Blissey, and Clefable are probably the big three. Like all of them are really, really strong. But after that, it's not like it falls off super hard. Like you could play Eldegoss or Comfey and feel great. Like Mr. Mime or Wigglytuff they are a supporter class, but they're kind of played more as like a tanker defender in a lot of ways. But they're also pretty solid options too. So it's like, yeah, in terms of supports, you got a lot of good ones out there. But Psyduck's got the cool Hollowware, so pick Psyduck.
That's true.
Yes, it does.
Clefable did get a battle pass though. We got a supporter battle pass for the first time in the game.
Wow.
No Cramorant battle pass.
No Cramorant battle pass.
Yeah, as I think I logged onto Unite for the Switch 2 to be like, oh, is this running better? Obviously, the power of the Switch 2 makes you go through the menus a lot quicker. There are a lot of menus. There are a lot of little red dots you need to redeem. I saw there was a sale happening on a bunch of Hollowware. Do you think like Latias would be like almost like a BOGO? Like you buy one, you get the other one?
Yeah, it could be. Like, well, for sure there'll be a deal where you could buy both. Like, after the event is over or whatever and they just go to the shop, I guarantee there'll be like for slightly less than buying them individually, you could get both. So that'll happen. I imagine, because I talked before about how the events are almost always like these mazes that you roll dice to see how far you go through the maze or whatever. I'm picturing that like when you first start that, you get to pick a path. You either pick the Latios path or you pick the Latios path, and then you make your way through and unlock one of them. So that's my assumption. We'll see though.
Yeah.
Again, all assuming that they release at the same time, which again, it would be crazy if they didn't, but they've done crazier things before. So
well, I can't imagine that Latios and Latias are the only thing they're doing for the 4th anniversary. What else would they possibly do to get people to come back or to sign up or to start playing again? Or because if I don't care about Latios, how are they going to get me for the 4th anniversary?
There's a couple things we'll see. They're like, obviously there are always like deals, and it's usually like a pretty big burst of like new skins and stuff like that, like new Hollowware that you can get on your mons, which is exciting for some. But there'll probably be a couple of new mini games introduced. I think last time we kind of had the wave defense, like where you had a Tinkaton at the home base, and then like waves of enemies would come, and you like defeat them. And before that, it was like a boss rush mode, like the last anniversary. So we'll get another one. There is this really cool version of Pokemon Unite in China that I know you've played before, Steve, on stage.
Yeah.
Worlds once upon a time. There's a lot of really cool modes and things like that. And rumor is we'll be getting at least one of their new minigame modes coming to our title. Just a rumor, but we'll see.
Interesting. Wait, did the version of Unite that you played, Steve, last year at Worlds, that came out, right? That came out in places that aren't China as well, or no?
What was it called?
Like 500 point.
Oh, the game mode is global. That is true, but the client that Steve played on was the China mode.
I don't think I don't think I talked about the client where like when you were waiting for a game, you were in like an overworld where you could walk around and you could see the other people in game walking around with you, and then the Pokemon they picked. So if I picked like Blastoise would be behind me. So I could see somebody else's like Eldegoss behind them as they were walking, and then you could see the clothes. Obviously, they were clothed. You could see the clothes they were wearing or the clothes they bought and stuff. So you could really customize. I think there was like a little basketball mini game you could play while you were
like
in the
archery
overworld.
ones, like a skee ball-esque one. And then the biggest thing for that one is you can take like photos and stuff. There's like a bunch of photo op spots. So you can like go sit on the beach with your Pokemon and then like take photos and stuff. Is like a really cool little concept they've added, which is kind of fun.
So that was like the China client. It's almost like similar to like Mario Kart World, where like when you're waiting between races, you just see all the racers like around you, and you could just sit there, you could drive, you could take photos, you could do burnouts. I'm not saying you could do burnouts.
You actually do have a car. They did add a car. You get a Pikachu car in the China mode.
They did?
They have a lot of cool stuff that we don't.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, and then just like a ton of mini games. Like obviously there's the auto chess that I've been playing. I have the China mode on my phone, so I've been playing the auto chess quite a bit. It's very, very fun. But then they have like
I want that. How good is that? Explain that. I want the auto chess. That sounds awesome.
Oh, it's so fun. I am wishing so desperately that that's like our Worlds announcement. You know, like how there's always like kind of for each of the titles. If the announcement for Unite is that the auto chess mode is going global, I will flip. Like I will be so excited. But it's a super fun mode. It's technically in beta in the China client right now, which is interesting, but it also is a really good thing because it's like balanced every week. There's like a new patch every single week for that mode. Like we're kind of in their set 2. So now there's like some synergies are taken away, there's new ones added. New Pokemon to play as they started adding like wild Pokemon in as like playable units and stuff. Like Arbok is not a playable Pokemon in the game, but it's a unit in the auto chess mode, which is interesting.
That sounds awesome. Wasn't there like so many
fun.
League of Legends players that like just moved to whatever League's auto chess was called, and they don't even play League anymore? They just play auto chess.
It's great. It's such a. I mean, it's a fun concept. It's a great stream game, which some people talk about. Like, it's good content, right? Like, you just do your thing, and then you can turn and talk to chat while it all happens for you and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's a good mode. It's a good game. I really, really hope we get it. Oh, yeah. I think it would bring a lot of people back. Like, I think that would be one of the biggest slam dunks that Unite could do. It's like, hey, we're adding auto chess. This is the platform you have to play it on. You got to download Unite now. We're sorry, but here we go.
Exclusive to the Switch 2. Only the Switch 2 can handle the power of auto chess.
No. Oh, so much harder to make mobile purchases when you're on the phone, though. You need to. You got to be in the quick buy on the cell phone.
So are you mostly a mobile player?
Yeah, Unite kind of turned me into it. I used to play primarily on the Switch when I played Pokemon Unite, but then after like. Since I started doing commentary and stuff, going to all these events and then having to lug my Switch around and bring it out whenever I wanted to play Unite with people, I just got tired of it. So then I was like, all right, I'm just learning how to play on the phone. And then I just stuck with it. Not to mention the performance was so much better than the Switch one on the phone. So I just kept up with that. There's a few Pokemon that are like, I would say better on a controller versus some that are better on a phone. Like for example, Mew is like so much better on a controller. Just because of how the mechanics work with that Pokemon, like how you want to swap moves extremely quickly. It's easier to press a button than hitting, tapping, selecting the new move on both ends.
Sure.
And whenever you have move selections, it like covers other buttons that you might want to be pressing. So controller is great for that Pokemon. But then some like snap aiming where I want my thing to go, like on Chandelure or Gardevoir or something, when using an analog stick, it takes a lot longer for my literal cursor to move to where I want to go rather than me just swiping my finger exactly where I want it. So there are some Pokemon that I think are like the difference is so minuscule, but there are like noticeable differences.
Sure.
Got it.
Yeah. Like our competitive scene, we're like, I would say almost at the exact 50-50 split between Switch players and mobile players when it comes to tournaments. It's really interesting. It's an absolute headache to run a tournament without tech issues with that fact. But it is exactly like 50-50.
Is the Switch 2 banned for competitive play?
We kind of got swept up into the like same ruling as VG, right? Like, it's kind of like a preemptive ban, like kind of for all of NAIC. Don't use it. We're really hoping it'll be available for Switch 2, for the World Championships. Unite uniquely, I think, compared to any of the other titles, we have a LAN mode created for our competitions that's like kind of exclusively used by the championship series to play on. So like players are playing with literally zero latency, which is kind of crazy. Like it's instead of being on whatever your ping would be when playing on an online event, which is really cool. The players love it. It is however, I think there just needs to be some testing done on the Switch 2 before we're ready to fully launch that for the World Championships, I think. But we'll see, we got time.
Yeah. Are you able to switch your account between mobile and Switch, or like once you? Okay, so you can.
As long as you don't like log on to both of them at the same time. The game really hates that. They give you a temporary ban real fast once you do that. So I've made that mistake a couple times before. So but you can be logged in on multiple locations just as long as you're not actively playing or whatever.
Okay.
So you can go back and forth for them and stuff.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Best news for last here. Off the HersheyCompany.com. This highly anticipated... How is it highly anticipated when you didn't... Okay. Their words, not mine.
Counting down the days.
Highly anticipated collaboration allows fans to collect chocolates featuring the original 151 Pokemon. This was announced on June 11th. Get ready, trainers. The Hershey Kisses brand and the Pokemon Company are joining forces for a chocolate-filled journey, introducing special edition Hershey Kisses wrapped in collectible Pokemon foils. With 151 unique foil designs inspired by the original Kanto region of Pokemon, every unwrapping is a chance to discover, trade, and collect them all. From Pikachu to Mew, each Hershey Kisses chocolate is wrapped like a Pokeball, unveiling the classic melt-in-your-mouth chocolate that fans have loved for generations. I think it's actually out now, but I haven't gone to a store and seen it or find it or where are we buying this from?
I would imagine you're
Target?
I don't know what you got out there, like Kroger?
Walmart?
Yeah.
Kroger?
Yeah, wherever
Walmart,
chocolates are
Kroger,
sold.
Wherever chocolate. Yeah, I've seen there was someone in, I don't remember who, maybe Stuart in the Slack. Someone in the Slack was like, I'm eating a Magikarp. And they had a picture of the Hershey's Kisses. So,
and so to be clear, the only Pokemon, it's only the foil. There's no design imprinted on the chocolate, right?
I think that's
Right.
what it is. I think it's just the foil, and then it's just a regular Hershey's Kiss inside.
Yeah, so
That's a little bit of a bummer. It would be cool if on the bottom of the kiss there was just a stamp, it was stamped into the chocolate of what Pokemon.
But then you got people collecting unwrapped chocolate Hershey's Kisses and leaving them.
Yeah.
So
Problem
much-
you got is people like me selling Hershey's Kisses right outside the Target set up. I got 20 Mew Hershey Kisses. Let's go.
So the Hershey Kisses are in a bell shape. I don't know how to describe the kiss.
Yeah, kind of.
Someone
And
describe
then-
them as a kiss shape.
And then the top, it looks like a Pokeball, except in the form of a bell. And then on the bottom, where the Hershey Kiss is flat, that's where the image of the Pokemon would be. So it's just on the foil. So yeah, I think when you unwrap it, it's just a normal Hershey Kiss. I don't know how... What is the rareness of this? Is it just every, you know how when you open Pokemon Masters or something, or in Pocket where everything has a percentage, Leafeon is a 1.9%. Are these all are the kisses the same percentage? Is a Charizard the same percentage as a Mew? What is
I
the
think the question is, are these sold in Europe, right? Where the gambling laws are way stricter, do they have to print them on the box?
Yeah,
your Mewtwo rate's a 0.01% chance. There's a 50% chance of a Zubat or whatever.
if I pulled a
we need to have those
Mewtwo
printed.
Hershey Kiss, is that going to be more money if I decide to sell it on eBay?
Well, it
I'm
depends on
looking
what
to see.
PSA it gets, I think.
I'm looking to see right now if any of these Hershey's Kisses are selling on eBay. I don't see any.
I
Just
now
the
want to see
bags.
a unwrapped foil, just terribly pressed into one of those those plexiglass slabs in a PSA rating. It's all got chocolate in it and stuff. I think that would be, very funny.
If you genuinely cared about trying to collect them all, is there a way to preserve these forever?
Put them in a freezer?
Oh, you mean keep the chocolate? Okay, yeah, that would be.
Well, you don't want to unwrap it, right? That's like those Star
Well, how do
Wars
you know what
Pepsi
Pokemon it is?
cans. Because it's on the bottom. It's on the bottom. You don't have to unwrap it.
Oh,
to
I
see
thought it was on the bottom, on the inside.
No. It's on the bottom of
it's
the
on
outside.
the out, so it's just
Okay.
the outside. Yeah,
I see. Well, because it was you said it was described like a Pokeball, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, then you have to unwrap it to find.
No, yeah, the top is like a Pokeball, but then you
Got
flip it, and then the bottom has a picture of
Yeah, the bottom has a
Pokemon.
picture. You don't have to. You don't have to
I
open
think
the
any
kiss
old
at all.
fridge will do,
Yeah, just a
or
fridge.
freezer. Yeah, you'd be all right.
Do you remember when the Phantom Menace came out and there were collectible soda cans of those
Yeah.
the Jar Jar Binks or whatever? I was a kid when that came out and I wanted to collect those cans, but I drank the soda. But I don't know if you're like a hardcore collector. Do you keep the can of soda sealed, or do you open it?
I've seen people who have like
Yeah.
cans of soda sealed. They like keep them on like the shelf next to a bunch of other collectibles, and I'm just like, that is such a disaster waiting to happen.
Right.
That can going to
Yes.
explode all over your other things. Like, don't do that. But
I've also
It's
seen
terrifying to
people
think
like
about.
pop a hole in the bottom because they don't want to like break the seal on top, and then they drain it that way.
oh, it's possible that this person I'm thinking of maybe has done that.
But does that
you
decrease
say
the
that.
value of the only? Okay, I'm thinking about this because sometimes on my Twitch streams I don't actually play video games. That's actually the majority of my Twitch streams is I don't actually play video games, and I end up going to eBay for hours on end. And I went at one time, we found the jelly, the like grape jelly that you would put on peanut butter and jelly of the Pokemon. Was that like Welch's, I think? So they were like
Sure,
glass
probably.
jelly cans of like. Not cans, glass jelly jars of like Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander, etc. But they were still sealed with jelly, and they were unopened. And they wanted like $500 for the complete set of like 9. I think there was 9 of them. And then I got into like a whole rabbit hole of like how long can jelly last, which is like as long as it's airtight, it should last forever.
That's
Should I
think
buy
about how
$500
problematic that
Pokemon? Should I buy $500 Pokemon jelly and then open it?
I think we should like more be looking at, should you put something in your body that lasts forever? What is in that makes it last forever?
Well, I
And
made
should
it
you
to
put that in your body?
r/canning where people can a lot of stuff.
Okay. Wow, yeah, we went on a journey on
Yeah.
an eBay search for sure. Yeah.
There's so many questions I have for you here, Steve. I just
Okay, here's what I want to know. How many different like Hershey's collabs have they done before? Like, has there been any other like big is this the first one? Is there like a Mario collectible like Hershey's Kisses?
like other collabs
Yeah, other,
that
like,
aren't
products.
Pokemon.
Because if there is, this is what you do. You talked about 3D printing before, Steve. We just print out a bunch of like the exact shape of a Hershey's Kiss, and then you rewrap them.
Oh,
So it has
that's
the
pretty
illusion
clever.
having the chocolate inside, but it's just plastic inside.
I don't know why the Hershey's chocolate Instagram goes really hard. They got a lot. They put a lot of effort in their Instagram. I don't see. I see a Snoopy collab where they put
there you go.
the kid with the yellow shirt. I don't remember his name. They put him on the bottom of the Hershey
Brown?
Kiss. Charlie Brown.
The kid with the yellow shirt, Charlie Brown, the main character.
You couldn't dig up Charlie Brown? That Snoopy you had in the tank?
really struggling right now. They put Charlie Brown and Woodstock. I know Woodstock. They put Charlie Brown and Woodstock on the bottom of the Hershey Kiss, just like the Pokemon ones.
Same. Interesting.
So yeah, maybe they sell a product like this already, where it's just like a plastic insert.
Yeah, it looks like they have a Harry Potter collab with the same thing. They put something on the bottom. Yeah, I mean, Harry Potter's probably. There's probably not a lot of collabs that are bigger than Harry Potter or Pokemon. Those are two pretty big brands.
Yeah.
Not saying that like Charlie Brown and
I expect
Snoopy
my
aren't
Mario one next year.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else as I scroll down. Maybe this is a newer thing with collabing with big brands.
Their Instagram's doing really well recently. They're like, let's branch out.
Yeah, half 500,000 on Instagram. There's apparently Cinnamon Toast Crunch Hershey Kisses. That sounds pretty awesome.
Interesting.
For our audio listeners, Zoinks made a face. I don't.
It was a good mixed response amongst the three of us, I think. We had all sides of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch debate. That's good.
I don't know the last time I've had like a Hershey Kiss or a Hershey bar. What's your chocolate intake here? Are you guys big chocolate people? Like I feel like I'm getting like.
Ironically, I'm not, actually. I'm gassing up these a lot, but Hershey's Kiss, I do like them, but I actually don't have that much chocolate. I'm very much a salty snack person compared to a sweet snack person.
No, I like chocolate. I'm a chocolate fan. for
Okay,
sure.
you're a chocolate fan.
Usually Kit Kat or Twix, though. Those are like my favorites.
Score bar is like my go-to.
Oh, I like
What's a
bars.
score
I do like
bar?
score bars.
Great.
Yeah, it's like chocolate with like
Get
a
on
toffee.
eBay.
Like a toffee in it or like a nougat. It's good. It's great. Have you ever had a Heath bar?
No, I mean yes, but I know I don't like it.
Okay.
Oh,
it's,
well then,
it's,
we'll see.
it's like the competitor to Heath bars is Score Bar. It's fairly similar.
You guys aren't like Almond Joy fans, right?
I'll do an Almond Joy.
Yeah,
Oh.
I like. Again, I don't have them very often. Like maybe, like
Or
once
Mounds.
a day.
Or a Mounds
Oh,
bar.
I think Mounds is
I know,
worse
yeah.
than an Almond Joy.
No, dude. No. I used to, as a kid, hated Mounds bars, but as an adult, yeah, they're fine.
Hot take was that I liked Bounty bars a lot. I don't know if they're in the States a ton, but I grew up in Canada and they're
Bounty
everywhere
bar?
there. And it's just
What is
chocolate
that?
and then it's coconut inside of
Oh,
the chocolate.
So it's like a Mounds bar. It's
Yes,
dark
yeah.
chocolate
The
with
same thing, I
coconut,
think,
but
essentially.
yeah. Well, so wait, Steve, what is your chocolate intake? What do you pick
My
in the
main
store?
chocolate intake would be a Twix.
Okay.
That would be it. Like I love, but I'm really weird. I will always eat a Twix when I'm on like a vacation, or not vacation, but when I'm traveling. Like when I'll get to like a hotel, I'll think I need to find a convenience store, and I need to get like a big bottle of water for the night, and then I always get a Twix. It's always like that's the combo. Like I
Interesting.
need a bottle of water for the hotel, but I also need a Twix.
Sample the local cuisine. Get a bottle of water, and a Twix. Really get the lay of the land when I first get to a new spot.
Really, just want to feel comfortable when I'm
Right,
away
exactly.
from
That's
home.
good. A little piece of home. Every time.
But I don't think I'm walking into a store and just getting like a flat Hershey bar, right? I don't think that's ever on my
No.
mind.
That's I did as a kid. My dad
cookies
is
and cream
super
one,
into those.
maybe.
So
Yeah,
we would go
I
and
can get down with cookies
those.
and cream.
But yeah, no, it's usually like if it was like Halloween candy or in like an Easter basket or something like that, and you get like the Hershey's, like the little mini Hershey's bars, the little like bite-sized ones. Or if you're making s'mores. If you're gonna make s'mores, you may go and buy like a little pack of the Hershey bars. But not usually like if you're in the aisle at the checkout, I'm not usually grabbing just like the like basic Hershey's bar over like
I actually do
quick
think
Kit Kat.
baking is probably what they get used for the most, right? Like it's so much like you crumble them
Oh,
up, put them in
probably.
cookies and stuff. Like
Yeah.
just
Yep.
those flat Hershey bars.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of traveling, we have a little bit of Japanese Pokemon news that we will talk about in our bonus segment. So thank you for listening. Thank you for making it to the end. If you're on the premium feed or you would like to be on the premium feed, if you would like to be on the premium feed, patreon.com/PKMNcast. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial. And you can also sign up for a free trial on Apple Podcasts, the actual Apple Podcast, not just having an iPhone. Well, you can use whatever app you want. Apple Podcast has its own like subscription built in. Otherwise, every other app can just grab the Patreon direct link. So if you want more content, if you don't want any ads, if you want all that, patreon.com/PKMNcast. If you are not on the premium feed, this is where we end the show. So thank you for listening. Thank you, Zoinks. Thank you, Bobby. Zoinks, real quick, where can our listeners find you if they're on the peasant feed and not the premium feed?
Yes. Well, all of you peasant feed enjoyers, including me, at ZOINKScast is where I'm at on socials, but otherwise you can find me on the UNITE channels like that. World Championships coming up very soon. I'll see you over there.
Awesome. Very exciting. It's always great to watch Zoinks and the team commentate. It makes actually watching Unite like, oh, I can follow along. This is really exciting. I get the details.
It's so kind.
All right. Again, if you're on the premium feed, stick around. If not, we will see you guys next week. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
Super effective.
Super effective.
I knew this was going to happen. I knew the second I left Japan, they were going to announce more stuff to do.
They're like, oh, he's finally gone. Go.
He's out of here. He hurt his foot. He got his shinies. He's out of the country. Visitors will still be